Hi guys, I'm Dr. Garima Gupta. I got a rank of 1374 in this year's NEET PG. I'm making this YouTube video regarding my journey and I'm hoping that this will solve some of your doubts regarding the same. I hope this helps. So let us begin.
I did my MBBS from GMC Patiala. Uh, I'm a student of batch 2017, and I got a rank of 50,000 in my first attempt. And I did not prepare for that year's NEET because my internship was quite hectic. I could not manage my time. And after that, my internship it ended in April 2023, and I gave INICET in the May 2023, and I got a rank of 14K. And after that, I had started diligently preparing for the NEET 2024, and I got a rank of 2.9K in November INI, and subsequently I got a rank of 3.1K in May INI. And eventually I got a rank of 1374 in this year's NEET. So obviously, like my graph seemed it grew, but I was not satisfied with this year's May INI performance. So uh, I continued preparing, and here am I telling you all about this. So, a little about the sources that I used. My primary source was Marrow, and my secondary source was MedSynapse app by Dr. Nikita Nanwani ma'am. And I also used first aid book to concise all my notes. And I used free videos by Dr. Zainab Vora, ma'am, on which are available on YouTube and an academy. There's this folder which is available, which has all of Zainab Vora ma'am's compiled videos on an academy. I used that. And I also had a subscription to the app Osmosis, which is basically for USMLE prep. And I used to do questions of USMLE pattern, like only the step one. Maybe you can do step two also, but step one are more helpful. So I did like 10 questions per day whenever I could. So yeah. So moving on. So this is the subject-wise distribution of all the resources that I used in my preparation. And like you can take a screenshot if you want to. So for anatomy, I made my own handwritten notes. Plus, I used MedSynapse because anatomy is a very volatile subject. No matter how many times you study, you will forget it. So you need mnemonics to remember all the stuff that you're reading. So for biochem, I used first aid only, FA's uh, first aid only, and I annotated it with Marrow's videos on the extra points that I learned in Marrow's notes. So I annotated them all in my first aid. So I kept on adding points whenever I used to give GTs. So it all became a very concise version to study from. So after that, for physiology, I used Marrow's main notes, and I for later on I concised it all into my 20th notebook. I'll come to that later on, and I supplemented it with MedSynapse because for me, physiology was a very volatile and conceptual subject which I could not remember no matter how hard I tried. So eventually, when I watched ma'am's MedSynapse videos, I realized it's not difficult and uh, yeah. So coming to the second year subjects, for pharma, I made my own notes. I used first aid and I used MedSynapse. I brought it all together into my notes. I did not annotate into first aid because in first aid it was given very separately. The pharma part is given very separately, but most of my content is from first aid and from MedSynapse in my own notes. So, and for path, I used first aid and I annotated it with Marrow. So, I did immunology. There is a separate section of immunology in FA. I supplemented it with Dr. Zainab's MER video, which is available on an academy. It was one of my favorite videos by Dr. Zainab. I had watched it like 5, 6 times. So, coming to micro, I only used my FA for micro. I did not use anything else. It's beautifully given in FA. Like you don't really need anything else. You can still supplement it with all the extra points which you keep on learning in the GTs. So coming to FMT, forensic medicine, I used Marrow's main notes and I annotated it with MedSynapse mnemonics and yeah. So that's enough. Like you don't need anything else for FMT. So coming to third year subjects, that is Opthal, ENT, and PSM. So for all of these, I used Marrow's main notes and I annotated it with MedSynapse. And coming to fourth year, and I for medicine, see, medicine is a very huge subject, and like you cannot study it all. Or you cannot revise it all in the last revision. So for that, I used first aid. Like in first aid, all the units of first aid are given section wise, like subsystem wise. So suppose you're doing cardiology, so I integrated cardiology with MedSynapse content, and I used to study from there only. So it was very concise and it really covers all the topics which are frequently asked in the NEET exam. So for surgery, I used Marrow's main notes. I watched main videos in my fourth year, and I watched RR videos, I guess, twice because I was really weak at surgery, and it is a volatile subject. Plus, I supplemented it with MedSynapse. Uh, Coming to Obs Gynae, I only used Marrow RR notes because I was good at Obs Gynae from my fourth year only. And coming to Ortho, I used Marrow's main notes and I supplemented it with MedSynapse. For Derma, I used Marrow's main notes. And for anesthesia, I used only MedSynapse. I made my own notes. That is more than sufficient for short subjects like anesthesia. For psychiatry, I watched Dr. Zainab's BTR video. It was available for free in her Cerebellum app. So I watched that. Plus, I added extra points in my notes from first aid. So, and for radio, again, I watched Dr. Zainab's free videos, which are available on YouTube. So I did just that. I made my own notes for general radiology and for nuclear radiology. And coming to pediatrics, it was one of my weak subjects. So I used the Marrow's main notes. Plus, I supplemented it with first aid. So, like this is something that which has to be individualized. This is what I did. Like you can use RR. There is really no difference, not a lot of difference in main notes and the RR notes. It's just how you want to do it. Like if you don't like bulky notes, so you can shift to RR. I personally like uh, I personally have this thing of visual memory that I felt that if I shifted to RR from my main notes, I would lose my visual memory, which I had created in my fourth year while I was using Marrow. So I stuck to the main notes only so that my visual memory would remain intact. Yeah. So coming to MCQs, how many to practice? So it really depends on you, like how good you are. I would suggest doing at least 50 to 100. I did 50 to 100 MCQs per day. So like I've divided it a timeline wise. In the first read, I only did Marrow's question bank plus minus an occasional GT, whatever suits you. Like you can give GT or not. It's not a necessity in the first read. Uh, and in the first revision, I started giving subject-wise tests. So, subject-wise tests, what I used to do was, like, suppose you complete a subject in a day, at the end of the day, give it subject-wise test, or maybe give it the next day. So that really consolidates all your topics in one setting. And suppose you miss a topic in a particular subject, you will be able to cover it in the subject wise test because it is primarily based on all the PYTs. And like you can read its explanation when suppose you get that particular question wrong, then you can read its explanation and all of your subject will be covered. You won't feel that okay, I left this topic or something like that. And along with subject wise test, I would suggest bi-weekly GTs in your first revision. After that, in every subsequent revision that you do, I would suggest all the n number of mini tests that you can give and subject wise tests, plus shift to weekly GTs. Like I will come to GTs later on, but this is a great approach. Like if you don't like doing custom modules like me, I used to give subject wise tests and mini tests as much as possible. I also started doing 10 USMLE style questions daily or on alternate day, whatever suits you. Uh, like on the suggestion of Dr. Nikita ma'am, like it really helped because, like as you might be aware, that USMLE questions are long stem. They are like 3, 4 stem based, and by the time you really learn how to eliminate options by practicing such questions because our exams that are INISET and NEET PG, they are now shifting towards USMLE style only. So I would really suggest doing these questions. You don't necessarily have to take a subscription for these questions. They are available on Telegram. You can search for that, and you will find some Kaplan or UWorld questions for free. So I would really suggest doing that. After that, a frequent query which many of us have is what kind of module tags which you use. So I mainly use these tags. Aims recently are non-negotiable. Like you have to do PYQs. There is like no, like you cannot escape the PYQs. So plus you have to also do FMGE in, like if you're using Marrow, you can change your the entire thing to FMG in the settings, and you can do FMG questions from there. I did 3, 4 years FMG questions, and all the recent NEET and AIMS questions which are given in Marrow. Plus, I also love these clinical and images tags, which like clinical questions are really great in Marrow. You should try that. And images for image heavy subjects such as pathology, you can really try these out. So this is one thing which I learned over time, that which MCQs to focus on. Like you don't need to learn all of the information that is given in Marrow because it is a huge platform and it has huge number of questions. You possibly cannot learn all of it. So what I used to do was that if an MCQ is marked right by, let's say, 35 to 40% of the people, make sure to get it right the next time. Like you can write its concept or whatever they're trying to ask in your notebook or whatever source that you have, and make sure that you get it right next time. And plus it is important to not get the PYTs wrong, even if like very less number of people are getting a question right. If it is a PYT, then you have to get it right. Like there is no ifs and buts about it. Coming to how long to revise the entire syllabus. So I would say that it really needs to be individualized because it depends on how strong your base is in your MBBS. So I would say that I took first 3, 4 months for my first read, and in the subsequent revisions, I tried to cut the time in the 2/3 of the previous revision until I reached 10 to 15 days. So, like suppose I did my first read in 3 to 4 months, I tried to do my second first revision in let's say 2 months, and my second revision in let's say 1.5 or 1 month, whatever suits you. Like it really has to be individualized. So since our exam was postponed quite a number of times and I had a lot of ample time with me, I even took breaks, and despite that, I had a lot of ample time with me. So what I used to do, how I used to break my time, how I used to divide my time was I used to do one long cycle of around 30 days, followed by one short cycle. of around 10 to 15 days, and I repeated that whole thing as many times as possible until the day of my exam. So this was my favorite scheme to follow, where I used to do one long cycle, where I used to read subjects thoroughly, not in a hurry, solve as many questions as possible, give GTs, like make your schedule accordingly. Like, okay, on this day I have to give a GT, on this day I have to do this. Like, and one short cycle, so that you know how to revise your entire syllabus in 10 days. Like, because the 10 days before the exam are the most important, they are the most crucial ones. You really should revise your entire syllabus in those 10 to 15 days, so that, like, for your own like for your own thing, and uh, uh, so that you don't really feel underconfident before the exam. So for the final 10-day revision, I would strongly suggest to use a 20th notebook. So coming to my 20th notebook, like how I uh, made it and what how it helped me. So 20th notebook, also known as choti copy as we fondly call it, it is the most important tool. And so how to make a choti copy? So what you have to do is you have to write all the points you're frequently getting wrong in GTs. I started making my chote copy by writing all the mid-synapse notes which for the videos which I used to watch. So I made a notebook, and I made my own notes in that notebook uh, of all the mid-synapse videos, all the mnemonics that I was watching, and I used to write them down. And eventually that turned into a choti copy only, where I used to write all the points which I was getting wrong in GTs. I used to write volatile PYTs, and further, like, I made a new notebook where I wrote all the summaries for each subject. I used Sure Shot, that is in mid synapse only. Uh, I made summaries of each subject so that I can revise it before GT, or I can do a quick revision for the GT. Like, some people like to make that kind of schedule where they do one big subject plus one small subject in one day. So for that small subject, you can use that summary where you have all the important points, all the volatile points, all the points which you keep on forgetting, and you write them in, like, cover them maybe in 10 to 15 days. So these summaries, they really helped me even one day before the exam. Since I am the kind of person who feels that it is important to revise the entire syllabus in one day, because it is not practically possible to revise all the subjects, 19 subjects in one day. So I used these summaries which I made over the course of 1.5 year to revise before one day before the exam. You can also write cancer stagings, classification numbers, IPCs, whatever you feel is volatile, and make your own notes. I would really suggest on making your own notes. They can be physical notes, or they can be like your notes which you make on your iPad, or whichever device you're using. And I would also suggest making PDFs for histopathological images, and for instruments and other frequently asked images such as X-rays and all those CTMR images which are important. You can do that. Now, coming to grant tests, which were a turning point for me, uh, I gave about 35 to 40 GTs, like, in total of my entire preparation. And I would suggest try to give at least one GT per week, like I said before. So a lot of people are scared of GTs, of the rank they will get, of the score they will get. So I know it is easy for me to say, but once you start giving GTs, the fear just goes away. Don't be scared. Take it as a learning tool and try to focus on the concepts. Try to focus on the concepts which you got wrong. What kind of mistakes are you making? Are you getting stuck between two options and then marking the wrong option? How to eliminate options? All that you have to learn on your own, and you can only do that by giving as many GTs as possible. So when you have given ample number of GTs, let's say you have given 10 GTs, you you will you can start making custom modules out of all the wrong and unattempted questions in GTs. They will help you focus on your mistake more. Like suppose in your, let's say, second or third revision, you're doing surgery. You can make a custom module out of surgery. There is an option in Marrow, and you can make a custom module out of all your wrong and unattempted questions. This will give you what kind of mistakes you are making, what kind of mistakes you were making earlier when you started giving GTs, and now what kind of mistakes are you making. So, uh, try to reach 600 plus marks in GTs. I know it's tough. I know, uh, like, uh, it's very hard to reach there, but it is possible. I reached 600 plus in my GTs, and like it really helps. It really boosts your confidence, and eventually you can reach there. It is not impossible at all. So difficult GT, since Marrow's GTs have a reputation of being difficult, what I think is that difficult GTs help you score better in the final exam, because this year's exam was extremely difficult as compared to the previous year's exams. Uh, it helped me maintain my calm because I was so used to giving GTs. So for me, it helped me score better in my final exam because I did not panic. It is very important to not panic in your final exam. So, coming to review, how to review, I would say that review same day. I used to review same day or next day, mostly on the next day, and try to do it subject wise or whatever suits you. Like you will find your rhythm on your own on what suits you more. Focus on wrong questions, the questions which you got wrong, and then questions which you guessed correct. It is extremely important that you use that option while giving GTs, and then you come to all the unattempted questions, and then maybe you can do correct questions in a quick succession. And you can also do like previous year's tests which are available on Marrow, and by putting a timer. I use this app called TimerPlus App, and I made it is like a gymming app where you can make slots for exercises. I made slots while giving GTs. I made a slot for 42 minutes for 40 questions. But I did not purposefully click on the 41st question while giving that GT, so that like I can revolve in my slot only. By the time the timer changed to 43rd minute, I switched to 41st question. So this is an exercise you will have to do on your own, because Marrow's previous year GTs are not timer based, but they are really helpful. Like you really should attempt as many GTs as possible. So this was my progress. Unfortunately, I could not take a screenshot before of the journey before 14th of December because it only shows a particular number of GTs which you have attempted. You can see that my graph was up and down only, and I took a break in January after the first postponement, and I gave a GT Grand Test 14 on 19th of March. So I took a gap of around 2 months uh, before continuing. And you can see that taking a gap really dipped my performance, but it's okay. Like it's up to you, like whether you want to take a break or not. Like I knew that I would be able to cope up if I took a break. So it's really up to you. So like uh, this is the further last set of GTs which I gave, and you can see eventually my performance became more or less consistent. So this was my first GT that I gave on Marrow, and I scored only 357 out of 800. And eventually, when I gave my last GT, I scored 599 out of 800. And in my final exam, I scored 625 out of 800. So, like, if everybody starts at a very low score, if your score is lower than this also, then also it's perfectly all right. What is more important is to start. So how to stay motivated? So one thing I used to tell myself is that you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for anybody else, no matter what anybody else says. Eventually, your success will belong to you, and you are only doing it for yourself. This struggle, it will make you stronger. Like your hardships will make you stronger. The failure which you face during these times, they will make you stronger. So try to focus on the task and not on the results. This really helped me personally. I'm a firm believer of like doing your work and not focusing on results. I know it's hard. I also used to rant about my GT scores to my friends, my family, uh, on n number of occasions, but like my baseline mantra was this, that okay, even if my this GT score was less, I will try harder next time and score a better GT result. uh, and try to have a support system. Easier said than done, but try to ask for help from your family, your friends. Stay away from demotivating people, toxic friends, you know it all. uh, Try to break the subjects into topics and smaller tasks. Like, don't try to view it as a whole, because obviously it will seem daunting. uh, Reward yourself for achieving daily targets. That is very important. Like, suppose if you achieved all your daily targets, then you can perhaps watch an episode of Friends or whatever your favorite show is, like something like that, and take a break whenever needed, or your body will do it for you. uh, I have seen this a lot. Like, a lot of people don't like to take breaks because they feel that their syllabus will remain pending or something like that. I am a big fan of breaks personally. Whenever I used to feel tired, or whenever my schedule allowed it to me, I used to take a break. I would suggest one half a day break, like give a GT on that day and take rest of the day off. This was my thing, and this is how I used to take a break. And I used to give a GT one every week or so, like, whatever suits you. This is totally up to you. Breaks do increase productivity. This is something which I have experienced for myself. So yes, I would really suggest that take ample number of breaks without compromising on your schedule. So, coming to an end, this is a picture that I wanted to add, the iceberg illusion of success. So, success is an iceberg. What people see is just the tip of the iceberg, and what people don't see, the amount of effort it took to reach there. You will fail n number of times, you will sacrifice so many things. It will take so much amount of dedication, discipline, hard work, and whatnot, but eventually you will reach there if you don't give up. So please don't give up on your dreams, on your goals. You will reach there, and be consistent. Even if you do little by little every single day, you will reach there. I did it for myself. Before I started, I also doubted myself so many times, like n number of times I doubted myself, because my last year's rank was very, very bad. I knew that I would not get any kind of branch in that rank. So, but I did not give up. As many times as I fell, I took help and I talked to my friends, I talked to my family, and I got up again. Because, like, you wouldn't know until and unless you try. So, yes. So, coming to acknowledgements, all the people that I feel grateful for, my parents. Thank you for letting me take a gap year and always supporting me. My bhai and my bhabhi, for listening to me. My best friends, Dipanshi and Rishika, for always being there for me. My best friend Himanshi, who encouraged me to make this video. Dr. Vibin and his study group, which played a tremendous part in my journey. So I found Dr. Vibin's study group on Telegram, and he used to conduct Google Meet video call sessions. It was like a virtual library, and I used to attend that. I started attending it from March onwards, and since because of the postponement, everybody's morale was quite down. So it helped me gain back my momentum. So I'm really, really thankful to Dr. Vibin and all of my well wishers who wished me well. And because of you, I wouldn't be here. So thank you so much. And best of luck to everyone who's watching. And if you have any queries, please leave in the comments below. Thank you.